So, good morning, everyone. Uh, as I've frequently said, one of the things that I try to do with this call is pull in lessons or messages that have come from conversations, coaching calls, one-on-one messages that I've had throughout the week with members of my group that I feel would be relevant for a wider audience. I want to talk today about a subject which, it's about transformation, change. And why it's hard, but also why we change. This was a subject that has come up a few times this past week, which is why, since it came up multiple times, I thought this would be something I should discuss today. For decades, field leaders in Niken taught it's all about building an organization. It's all about building your teams. Organizations first, customers second. Yeah. And then over the recent past, the message has changed, hasn't it? And the message has been get customers, get customers, get customers, get customers. And as we look at our incentives, Team Kaizen, for example, 50,000 PGV, but 50% of that volume needs to be retail. It's all about customers. And so I've had some questions about that. Why? Well, what's going on? First of all, are you telling us that what we did was wrong? And thus, I was a bad leader. I didn't do it right. What are we saying here? Do I have to adapt and respond to this new way? What is the reason for all of this? I want to discuss why there was that focus then. What's the difference between then and now? And critically, why it's so important to understand this so that we can fully move forward into the future to get the best outcomes for our business. And I think as we understand this, we'll be able to apply some basic skills to improving our business and making a difference, because it doesn't require radical transformation. That's the beauty of this business model. And I hope that I'll be able to explain why that's the case moving forward. So I want to start out by giving you a couple of examples of businesses that didn't innovate or change. It's been said the one constant in life is change, isn't it? And I think it's also been said the one constant in business is also change. If we're not willing to change in business, then we can get ourselves into an awkward spot. There's been some great companies that have formed juggernauts in their time, but they failed to change. I'll give you just a couple of examples. Well-known ones, Blockbuster. Right? Everyone remember Blockbuster? At its heyday, it had 84,000 employees, 9,000 stores around the world. It was the #1 go-to place for video rentals. But the digital world was creeping in, and they were too scared to innovate. They didn't enter that space. In came Netflix, and look at Netflix now, and look at Blockbuster now. And it's interesting, the head of marketing and communications for Blockbuster said that digital would have been great for Blockbuster, would have been a great way forward for them. He said, but digital wasn't the demise of Blockbuster. Blockbuster was. It's interesting that, isn't it? Blockbuster was the demise of itself, meaning it was its own failure to innovate. That was the problem. Okay, what's another one? BlackBerry. At its heyday, it had 80 million users. It was the #1 place for business communications. Everyone had BlackBerries back in the day, right? That's how they all communicated with each other. Right? What did they fail to do? They failed to innovate with the touchscreen. They didn't go there. What happened? Out came the iPhone. And now, as a result of that, they own 0.2% of the marketplace. Yet they were the head honcho when it came to cell phones back in the day. Yeah. The last one that I want to reference is Kodak. We're all familiar with them as well as a great example. Founded in 1888, for a century, they were the leaders of photographic film. And again, along comes digital, out comes tech, which is changing the landscape. And they were too scared, again, to innovate. They actually invented their first digital camera back in 1975. They had their first digital camera back in 1975. They dropped it because they were afraid that it might cannibalize conventional camera sales. And so they thought, no, let's not do this because it might cannibalize existing sales and might not be good for business. And what did that lead to? They ended up behind the curve and filing for bankruptcy in 2012. That's a tragedy, that, isn't it? A real tragedy. So these are some examples of organizations that fail to innovate. Why do I share this? I share it because I want to emphasize something that's really important. And that is that it's not just network marketing or NICAN that has this necessity to go through cycles and seasons of change. Everywhere does, yeah? And it's incumbent upon all of us to be willing to adapt and respond when market needs, say, change, evolve, move forwards. The world around you is evolving, yeah? We've got to be willing to do that too. Our failure to do it would lead to our personal experience being like the Kodaks, the Blockbusters, the Blackberries of the world, and we don't want to have that. So why do we? I've written down some reasons here why we need to make sure we personally are willing to transform, to change. Why? And I hope you'll note that there is a key trend here with these reasons, which I'll highlight at the end. It generates new value. It generates new value. It unlocks new opportunities. It drives new growth, and it delivers new efficiencies. It's all new, isn't it? And what does new represent? All transformation requires us to rethink how we create value today and in the future. So transformation acknowledges the greatness of the past, but the necessity to be relevant today and relevant tomorrow. Because the past doesn't do jack for tomorrow if we're not preparing today for it. Yeah? Doesn't work that way in business. So the question is, this is the point that I wanted to reference, is when we made the adjustment in NICAN to say we've got to be more customer centric and move away from being all about recruiting everyone as a distributor and being distributor first, what were we saying there? Were we saying that the way that the leaders had done it in the past was bad? 100% no. We weren't saying that. That's like saying what Blockbuster had created was terrible because before they innovated, right? No, they just didn't innovate. There came a point in time where change needed to occur. Yeah, that's the point that was being made. The past was great. The foundation that NICAN was built on was incredible. It's been a legacy that's created 46 years now of incredible business experience. So that focus that once was, that was the primary method of network marketing companies all around the world that saw them succeed and thrive and prosper and grow, where there was a strong focus on recruitment, is what brought us to where we were. But it won't necessarily take us to where we need to go. It doesn't mean the past was bad. It means the need to transform and innovate is upon us. And there are different reasons and factors why that comes in, yeah? Such as the landscape has changed. Now that we have the internet in such an open and accessible way, we have very opinionated customers. We have very informed public, yeah? And a lot of them go, I want more information. Where can I get this? Where can I learn about that? Tell me more first. I'm going to do my own research. I don't need to go to a meeting to learn about this. I'll just research it online. Yeah. And they do all sorts of different things, and their behavior, the customer behavior is different. And the distributor and potential distributor, the prospect behavior is different. And so we need to take them through a different journey. And also, of course, the regulatory environment became very different. And it sustained a very different environment ever since we've been talking about it, because it was talking about it beforehand. Yeah. Now, what we were talking about in being customer-centric wasn't saying do away with the concept of building a team. That was not being said. What we were saying was get balance. We need two things to succeed in NICAN, in the business framework as distributors. We need a wonderful space where our customers can flourish, and have plenty of customers. And in addition to that, we need to have a team that also has customers. Yeah. But at the heart of it, every commission earned is the result of a product sold. If you want lots of commissions, we want to move lots of product to customers. Now, I want to emphasize something here. There is a dichotomy in the business as well. We can sell to lots of customers. I've just seen a little sign here saying my internet connection's unstable. Yeah, let's go. We can sell to lots of customers and be very, very retail focused. But if we are exclusively retail focused and we don't build a team, then our business will only take us so far. And we'll be repeating our efforts month after month after month to get roughly the same outcome. Yeah. And that's not why people join network marketing companies. They join it for the benefits of a collective team effort and result, where other people are building the business, and as a result, you are getting commissions from your leadership pool. Yeah. That leadership pool or bonus is the one that everyone wants to get as big as possible. Okay. But at the same time, if we only have our organization, but there's no real customers in it, then we're going to hamper or inhibit our growth. And we won't grow our organizations as network marketing leaders if we have an organization with very few customers. So what do we want? We want the best of both. We want to have an organization, a team of people that is flush with customers. The average networker, and almost across the industry, will deliver about 100 points worth of sales in a month. Now, if they're not bringing in new customers, which is the concern of the FTC, because they're saying, oh, they're just self-consumers, then all they're bringing to the table is 100 points. If you want to grow your business, you've got to then recruit like crazy. And the challenge there is that recruit like crazy excitement works for a limited period of time at the front end of a new market. When you've just gone to a new business, when you're at the front end of an organization going into a new market where a company is just launching, that's where you get the excitement and what I call the hyper excitement or the hysteria marketing that goes. That lasts for a limited period of time. It's like when I crack a joke, you get a laugh for a moment, but I don't have you laughing for the rest of the year. It doesn't work that way, right? And that's kind of the same with recruitment. So what you want to do is develop a culture in your business where you get a balance of, we bring as many customers in as possible, but we bring in as many distributors as we can, but we teach them to get the customers too. So that each distributor is multiplied 10x'd because they've got at least 10 customers in their business. And if every distributor in your team had 10 customers, what would that do to your organization? You start to grow pretty nice, pretty quick. Yeah. Can you see the difference there? If I'm all about getting customers, then all the work is on me only. But if I'm all about getting distributors, And then distributor behavior dries up. They stop recruiting because the excitement slows down, which always happens. Then my business freezes up as well. Yeah. But if I get a balance of the two, and I recruit and I get customers and I teach my team to get customers, then I'm getting paid a decent income and the check starts to improve and look really, really nice and healthy. That's the critical point. So we've got a lot of people in the business that have been in Nikan for more than a decade, more than 2 decades, some even more than 3. So what does this mean if I've spent decades building down a particular path? Was I wrong? Like I said, absolutely not. We have to say thank you for the legacy that you built and acknowledge the great success that you've achieved and developed and helped so many people develop too, that cannot go unrecognized or unappreciated. But we also need to recognize, like every other business in every other industry all around the world, change is always in front of us. And if we want to be relevant today and relevant tomorrow, then we need to make sure that we're willing to adapt and respond. And the way that we're doing that here in Nikan is to have a clear and present focus on the importance of our customers, and that we're putting customers front and center, which is why you can see the incentive for this month that Ruben announced last night was 3 for the price of 2 insoles for registered customers, running just for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, it's a focus on customers, helping us to acquire. Now you might say, oh, but wait a second, if I'm selling 3 pairs of insoles for the price of 2, aren't I losing commissions? Not if you're gaining a new customer. Yeah, they could be newly registered customers. Yeah, they register and then place that order. That might be something, a hook, a marketing hook that brings in a new customer. And if they start with that, maybe they'll try something else next month. Maybe you'll get something the month down the road. Maybe you'll get them a customer for life. Is 1 pair of insoles worth a customer for life or a customer for the next 6 months? Absolutely. Absolutely. So we need to start looking at and being a lot more customer centric in the way that we help people to experience our business. And this is why you see, like I said, the incentives being 50% retail for Team Kaizen, for example. Why? We want to have new business growth, new team growth in our PGV, in our personal groups, but we also need to recognize the value of that balance. And that's the underlying message there, isn't it? 50,000 PGV, half of which is retail. The underlying message there is balance. Retail, business builders. We want both. We want both. So here's the thing. What if I've been around for a while, I've focused on recruitment as a primary method, and I'm not savvy with all of these online advances in the world, right? Maybe I'm scared of the innovation that other companies are taking and that I don't know how to innovate. What do I do to be relevant for me? Now, under normal circumstances, this is something that I really love about Nikan. Under normal circumstances, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? If a company has created a position of power and prominence, preeminence, and then all of a sudden the markets shift and change, out comes the digital landscape. Now the customer experience is front and center. We need to evolve and transform. And you go, oh, I'm behind the curve there. Under normal circumstances, a company would be panicked or would be in a dangerous spot. Well, you can see that Nikan is moving towards a customer-centric focus and has been for a while. But the critical thing is, I have to, yeah? If I don't, then there is a personal impact on me. Nikan is doing it with or without us as individuals, yeah? With or without me, it'll do it. Yeah, it'll make that transformation, yeah? That's just the nature of the beast. So how do I do it? What if I don't have the online skills to innovate? Well, this is the great thing about networking, because if your strength is to recruit someone, to sponsor someone, then you can talk to them and let them know what we are all about the importance of having that balance, where we are a company where front and center, our customers have a great product experience with innovative technologies that can enrich and enhance their well-being. And we have testimonials from all around the world that back that up and validate it. And we can give you products that you can experience right here and now and get an immediate feel-good factor as a consequence that will give you confidence and trust that what we're doing is of value. And of course, we can teach them that our message has never been more relevant than to build a community than now, than to be able to see through this the relevance of a place of belonging, of having additional income streams that give you a peace of mind and security. Our message is relevant here, isn't it? But the nice thing is, as we talk to them about this, we can let them know that they can build their business online or offline. And if these people are great at online business building, and that's the way they want to do it, do you know what you've just done? You've just entered the innovative world of your business without needing to upgrade your skills. Yeah, because you just partnered with someone that does it. I remember once, a number of years ago, I was looking for a sales director, a sales manager, to work with me in a company that I was working for. And I went to the MD, the managing director at the time, and I said, I've got a guy that I know, I've worked with him for years, and he's this, and he's this, and he's this. And I told him all these things as to why I thought he would be a great fit for the business. And he immediately said no, even though everything I told him was exclusively good, right? He immediately just said no. He's not a good fit. I was like, why is that? He said, because he's everything that you are, right? And what he meant by that was, I don't need two Bens. I don't need two Bens. I've got you already. I don't need another Ben. I want someone that has different skills that will complement what you bring to the table, that will add further value by having a different skill set. Find someone that doesn't do what you do. That was great insight. Yeah. So when you go out looking for new people to partner with as business partners, don't necessarily go looking for people that are just like you when it comes to their skills to build online or offline. Maybe look for people that have different skills and go, you know what? We will make a great team. You know why? Because we're different. I've got this skill, but you've got that skill, but they complement each other. And because they complement each other, we can form a more robust team. That's the nature of all companies, isn't it? If you look at it from a company perspective, the whole of NECAN is made up of lots of different parts, where finance takes a segment, where marketing takes a segment, where sales takes a segment, where IT and customer services all take a piece. They're all different, but they all make up the whole when they're all fitted together. And we need to look at our businesses a little bit like that too. Let's find some people in our business that we can partner with or bring in that are not carbon copies of us, but that will complement. So maybe I've got the experience, the legacy knowledge of network marketing, and I understand that bit, but this new person coming in doesn't. But they do understand how working online works. Maybe they've got great social media skills, but you do not. Excellent. I've got something right up your street. We can work together real good here. I can train you on how network marketing works, and you can work here on the social media, or we can integrate. And then we've got someone else here that's great at talking to people and building lists and contacting new people, but maybe they do that offline. Maybe they're not an online person, and that's great too, but they've got a great database of people that they could reach out to. Fantastic. Let's bring them on. I can show you how to reach out and talk to them and really get a positive outcome. I've been doing this for a long time. I've got lots of customers. I've got a great team and what have you. We can connect. You see how that can really start to work together. Make the most of using diversity as a way of enriching your business. That's the great benefit of what we offer here. So if you've been feeling a little unsure and uncertain, quietly, because these have been private conversations, yeah, about how does this all fit together, this transformation of going from the old school to the new school, yeah, and where do I fit in that? Absolutely, you fit in. And please understand, like I said, if you were doing something before that has been told it doesn't work that way anymore, that's not a slap on the wrist. That's not saying that what you did was wrong. It's simply an open acknowledgement that we, along with every other company on the planet that wants to thrive and be relevant and prosper, we need to transform and innovate. And the time is upon us to do that. And like I said, the great thing is, the wonderful thing is about our business model is you don't need to be at the cutting edge of innovation personally, where you know all the skills. You simply need to be willing to open your mouth and ask people to come join us. And when they do, if they've got the skill, then you've just made your team that little bit better. Yeah. You can have a great team that is very customer centric if you bring them in and point them in the right direction. Yeah. And you will learn as a result. And that's the nice thing too, that sometimes they can bring us along. But, you know, as a rule of thumb, again, just going back to my management days, I would always try to hire people that were smarter than me. I had to be humble enough to do that. If you want to be a great leader, you've got to be humble enough to hire people smarter than you. And then if you do that and you get together as a leadership team, my goodness me, what a great team you've got. But if you cap it with you being the best in the room, what a shame. Yeah, what a shame. So let's go out there and recognize we can talk to everyone about the way that we're doing this. And we don't need to have all the skills right now. We just need to be willing to open our mouths, talk to people and invite them to join us. Because the new way of doing it, where we get balance with recruitment and retailing, a balance of customer acquisition and support, along with acquisition of new business partners and supporting them, the more we do that and get balance through the both, the more profitable we'll be, the more successful we'll be, the more growth we'll experience, and the more comfortable we'll be in the futures that we have in our Niken business. So let's do that. Let's do that. Thank you all very much. I hope this has helped. And again, if you ever have questions on this type of a subject, I would encourage you to reach out because, like I said, we've been talking about this for quite some time, over 5 years. Yeah. So I was surprised at first blush when I started getting these conversations this week that there was still confusion and concern around some of these points. I shouldn't be surprised, I guess, because it's the nature of communication and it's the nature of change and transformation. Change and transformation takes time, doesn't it? It takes time to express and it takes time to sink in. So yeah, make the most of it. But if you have questions, comments or what have you, reach out, let me know so I can help. Our goal is to help you have the best experience possible. So thank you very much. And we'll speak to you next week. See everyone.
Thank you so much, Ben. It was great.
Thank you, Ben. Awesome.
Thank you.